Hello.
You're confusing him.
Appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with yo ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, cause it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Yeah, hello and welcome to the KVJShow After the Show podcast. First one, we got everybody here together, all kind of hanging out. You guys look like you're confused over there as we get used to the new studio. That's all I see is confusion.
I've got apple bottom jeans playing in my ears.
We have to switch. They showed me how to do it yesterday, and I'm not really good at.
On this thing we switch.
Oh, there we go. Yes, You have to switch your headphone output.
Okay. Denny's is racing in here to try to help you guys out.
Thank
Bam.
gosh. Ralston's talking. I'm doing apple bottom jean dances.
Yeah, now you guys got to do your own little button configurations over there, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right, welcome to the big time.
Yeah.
We have one button. Kevin has 8 million.
That is pretty neat. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, it's crazy, these modern radio studios they got these days.
I'm so used to working in a old dungeon.
Yeah.
It is fancy in here.
But we know for a fact we are not on RMF right now. The actual, I just want to make sure in case I drop a fudge bomb.
Yeah, we should not be. I mean, nothing that you were speaking on is in program, which would take it into the on-air mode on the radio station. So I can't say anything with confidence because we yesterday, didn't we have that where you were talking? Remember that? All the mics were off, everything was out, and yet it was still picking up your voice and broadcasting it.
Yes.
And we were like, why is it doing that?
It was weird.
It was over on regular radio?
I don't
No, it was
know.
here in the studio.
It was in the studio.
Yeah, but she kept talking. It kept coming over the speakers, and we're like, we don't know why because your microphone wasn't, there weren't any levels on it, wasn't up, and you were out of anything that should have had it speaking. So these are little tweaks and issues that we're trying to work through.
Learning curve.
Well, and I think some of them are glitches that you got to look at because I don't think that was supposed to be that way. That wasn't a design thing we got to get used to. That was just not so they got to figure things out that are a little glitchy and take care of the issues. So yeah, that's why the team that we have that's here, they're amazing people. They're a company, and this is what they do. And so they're here just to kind of work through all the little tweaks and things that need to be done.
They build new studios, and then thank God they stick around after they build it. Mm-hmm. So if anything goes wrong or you need to be taught, they are going to be.
He's like he's walking out.
They're going to be here for a year.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. I wish.
That's why, we're trying to learn as fast as we can.
We need them for a year.
Just be patient with us, y'all, please. I know it's weird at times.
Yeah. So we do have big plans. There's a lot of things we got to work through. And the studio, what you see is not what it's eventually going to be. We're going to add a lot of depth and character and more lights to it and things like that. So, like, if you notice my camera view, it's the corners like pitch black. It's very dark over there. So we're going to fix things like that.
You got a whole counter. If we could put some cool things up there to make it give it, a little life.
Yeah, a little. Yeah,
we will. We will. We're going to jazz it up, baby.
We just wanted to get in the new studio.
Yeah. Jeremy said it does look amazing though. Camera quality is outstanding. So he wants to know when the cleavage cam is going to be installed.
Oh.
So, yeah, we're working on that. We're going to do something different, I think, with all the cameras in here. Because some of the cameras they have on the computer monitors, and I don't like that. So hopefully we're going to just get all those mounted so that the camera views are not changing. Because right now, you see where your computer is. It's different than where it was earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so I just want it so it's always right,
And it will be. I think Denny's is going to put a fixed arm.
We are. Yeah, that's a move we're going to make. So, yeah, every day we're going to add something to it. So, yeah, cleavage cam on the way. It's on the list. Virginia loves showing her cleavage. I know that he loves looking at it.
Well, I got to put my best foot forward, Kevin.
I know. I hear you. Yeah, I got to up my game.
I know.
Yeah.
I got to work on my glutes because I want that coin slot cam.
Yeah.
Moose knuckle cam?
For the podcast, I think it would do well.
Lucy said, loving the new studio and the high-def cameras. I just have a small critique. As beautiful as Virginia looks, she's too close to the mic. Apparently, there's some peas a-popping.
Yeah, the problem is the top is where the peas pop, and I have to hunch down to not be on top of it. Sometimes I forget, and I get up here, and it goes puh, puh, puh.
Does your chair go up at all? So you can maybe fix that?
Well, I think it would need to go down.
Or down?
Yeah.
All right.
We'll get it.
Yeah. Things to work through.
Work in progress.
John said, I was listening to some of the emails from yesterday regarding Shakira and her show. If you missed that, they were talking about how she didn't come out till about 2 hours late, that the time that she was late on her start date was actually longer than the performance she put on at Hard Rock Stadium.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were just saying that it seemed like she was doing a little bit of a medley of some of the hits. And that often is one of my critiques as well, is that they will do a medley or they'll do somebody else's songs. Jelly Roll I thought was fantastic, but there were 3 songs of his that have been played on the radio and are hits that he didn't do. And he did that whole, hey, let's do now if I were doing blues.
I can't stand that.
And I was like, that's
We're here to see you, Jelly Roll,
right,
with your music.
I want to hear your songs that you sang. And he was great, performing them. But the fact that there were 3 songs that I was like, okay, I'd love to hear these 3. And I didn't hear them, but I did hear him, doing other people's music and all that kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't know who told him that. I don't know if anybody be like, yeah, can you not do 3 of your huge songs instead? I'd like to hear you. I don't know, maybe do just some random. Can you do like Come On Eileen or something instead? Like, huh?
No.
Yeah.
I understand if an artist doesn't have enough hits, they do a cover. Right. But if you're someone like, for example, Billy Joel, he's got a ton of hits and then he would do a Beatles cover or an Elvis cover. And I didn't want to hear that crap.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know why, but most artists are doing it.
Most artists are doing it.
I walked away from the Killers show, and it was like that. I walked away from the Foo Fighters show, and they were doing other people's songs and all that. I guess they think it's awesome. And what happens maybe on social media, it cuts through, because I do notice that on social media, people will be like, hey, did you hear when the Killers sang somebody else's song? And then it gets up on social media, and maybe it gets the band traction, and that's why they do it. That's all fine and good if you want to do that, but just don't cut out what you would think are your radio hits. To me, if you had a radio hit, play it.
Of course. People want to sing along.
Play all the hits. And then look, if you've got a song that you love, you'd be like, oh, I don't know why this was never a hit. You do that, but you do that extra.
Right.
If it's one of those deep cuts, then yeah, but still, to me, to be fair, and keep it. And you may be like, yeah, but people always come out, it's always the same stuff. No, you can always change up the residuals, but I don't know that you would ever get sick of it.
Right.
Because if you truly love that group and those songs, I think you would get it. And I would go with the adage of, this may be the one and only time many people in this crowd are ever going to see you.
That's true.
That's the other thing, too. It's a business. So think about the fans who'll never get to see you, and they're there to see Shakira play her favorite song, and she hits them with the medley. I cannot stand a medley. I do not. John, his drunk ass, played a medley of his hits, and me and Virginia looked at each other and go, the balls on Mare.
Well, he played a medley, and then he talked for 15 minutes instead of singing the hits that everybody wanted to hear. So it was like, okay, this concert is just for you, obviously. It's not for your fans, because your fans want to hear you sing Why Georgia.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
he was hammered too.
And he was hammered.
Right. Look, I mean, you're not there for you.
I'll never be
you're
mad
really
at you for being hammered, because I was hammered too.
Yeah.
I'll be mad at you for not singing my song.
Yeah. Be hammered, but be good.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to be good. Yeah, I think some of those artists are like, well, I don't want to do it. Well, it's not about that. People have paid money for you to do what you do. Dance, monkey. That's it.
Dance, yeah.
That's just it.
We paid money.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jet Pancake said, I loved it when Jelly Roll sang Young, Wild, and Free, and I was cool with it. It sounded good. You know that song, so what, I get drunk, so what, I don't. Yeah, it's a cool little tune. I'm glad he did it, but he did not do 3 of his bigger hits at the expense of instead doing Young, Wild, and Free.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that ain't the right move.
I agree. So that was the only critique I had on Jelly Roll. It's fine. Do that song. It sounded good. It was fun. We enjoyed ourselves, but still do those other 3 songs. One was from the Twister soundtrack, and there were 2 others that I won't bore you with, but I was like, yeah, you got to do those. Now, the point of John's email, he said, I want to shout out somebody who does do it right. If you've never been to an Ed Sheeran show, this is the way you do it. His show started at 8, and there was a 60-second countdown starting at 7:59.
Aww.
He played at 8 o'clock on the dot for 2 hours, played every hit, stopped a couple times to be personable with the crowd. Tickets were reasonably priced, around $60, and you're on the floor at Arrowhead Stadium. Maybe the most professional big show I've ever been to. I think Taylor Swift is very much like that too. I hear that she runs everything meticulously. She meets the expectations. I think she does change things up, but I don't think that it's like, you know what, I'm not going to do Shake It Off tonight.
She's not going to disappoint her fans.
Yeah.
She cares so much about the fan experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think a lot of people lose. You don't look at your song or your product or your business from the fan, the customer's perspective.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Not from yours, from theirs.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not poo-pooing on them doing covers and other people's songs. That's fine. Just do it in addition to every other radio hit you have. And then I'm happy. Got one you might want to check out. Kristen thinks here, Bird. You've got Bone Thugs and Harmony and 3-6 Mafia going to be going on tour together. It's going to be a Friday night, September 19th. You can check it out.
Don't believe him for a second. Bone Thugs love to cancel. They love to cancel a Florida show.
Aww.
I bought tickets for it, and they got canceled. And when that shit happens, I don't think I'd never get my money back.
You didn't?
I probably didn't try that hard to get it back. I should have sent my hound dog.
If you have a Ticketmaster account and your show gets canceled, you should get a refund through that. But sometimes they make you request it, because what happened with Morrissey is Morrissey rescheduled.
Yes.
So if they reschedule, they automatically give you a Ticketmaster new ticket to the rescheduled show. You have to request a refund if you can't make it to that new date.
Yeah, they were supposed to come twice. I think they canceled both times. At this point, I'm like, I'm going home, 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 home.
No more. That's it, Bones.
Yeah, sorry.
You're done.
I'll watch you on YouTube.
Yes.
Well, it is going to be at, I think, Financial. If you do want to go, you can check that out. 3-6 Mafia had a good song, too, I remember. Used to always play, gosh, probably 10, 15 years ago.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
If everyone goes. That's a
If
good
it
show.
happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they cancel twice in a row, they're going to lose a lot of fans.
The problem with Bone Thugs and Harmony, it's just like any band that's got drama, there's drama there. And I don't think they can all always get along with one another.
Okay.
Which Bone do you think is more to blame?
I think it's Busy Bone.
Busy Bone.
And I love Busy Bone.
Because he's busy.
He's too busy.
Too busy to do his damn shows.
Calm down.
I like the question, though. Thank
Smoke
you.
a doobie and chill out, Busy Bone.
Well, I think it's a problem. I think he's smoking too many doobies.
And Amy recommending a show she said had me crying. When you are feeling blue, watch Straw on Netflix. Anyone struggling will get this. Add political and racial tension to your current suck factor, and this movie just hurts your heart. But it was so well done. I'm so glad I watched it. The end gives you an unbelievable sucker punch.
Straw.
I've got a recommendation. I know you talked about it briefly, Kev. I watched it and loved it. It reminded me so much of my mom and Aunt Ann. That Nona on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
With our boy Vince Vaughn.
Yep.
It has got heart. It's funny.
Yep.
I really, really enjoyed it.
I can't wait to get to that one.
It's based on food. And I can relate to it because anytime something bad happens, you eat through your pain.
Yeah,
you
right.
always
Okay.
here's some pasta.
And it's based on a real story.
It is.
On Staten Island.
Yeah.
It was a real thing. I love when it's such a good movie and it's based on a real story.
I would bet my face on it. You are going to love it, Virginia.
I can't wait.
Such an interesting thing, though, in the era that we're in. That is a movie that everybody seems to love, and it's never going to see a theater.
That is weird.
It is weird.
I wonder if that would ever take off, if they could work that out. If you just, you know how they did the only made-for-TV stores back in the 90s? I think they kind of still do that now, where they take the Instagram stuff where you can walk in and just get it out. Would a theater work if it was never shown in theater movies and they only showed things that were on streaming services?
I don't
What
know.
in the theater? You're saying?
You'd move it into the theater. I wonder if enough people would be like, I want to see that, because, and the reason why I bring it up is because every time we talk about the movies, there are a lot of people that they do defend going to the movie theater. And they said, I actually like going to the movie theater. I like the experience of it. I like getting the snacks. I just like the whole feel of it. And that's a movie you'll never experience in a theater. But what if somebody had the business plan that that's what they did and they could get the rights to show it and said, yeah, we are only going to show movies that are streaming movies.
Do you go and see it if you've already seen it at home streaming?
I don't know, possibly, because they did that same strategy when they do re-releases for movies. Star Wars, that franchise has done it a lot. I remember when they had big anniversaries, I was so psyched when they brought it back. It was probably in the mid-90s, and they brought back the original trilogy and put that in theaters.
It was a very magical. You thought it was never going to happen as a Star Wars fan. You thought there would never be any more Star Wars. And when they announced that they were bringing them back and they were writing new ones,
and
me and my friends were, holy shit.
Yeah, it was. It was amazing. But I remember I went and I saw them again, even though I had the ability to watch it from home. Now, obviously, TVs are better and whatnot, but I had the whatever they were, DVDs or whatnot, and I could have watched them anytime at home, but I went and watched them in a theater, so it was an experience.
And the other thing, too, is they added new parts in the old movies, and you would go to certain movies just to go see the Star Wars trailer because they'd show you some of the new stuff they're putting in there, and it would just get all the Star Wars nerds just so excited. Oh, my gosh, they have a Wampa!
Yeah. And then Panchita she said, well, then why pay for the streaming service if it's going to be in the theater? Where I think this works, and my theory on this, in fact, I was just looking at somebody was ranking out the 7 streaming services you need to have. I was like, that's 7. Not everybody's going to have all that. And that's the whole point. There may be somebody that is like, yeah, I don't want to take on a streaming service to watch Nona's. I don't want to get Netflix just for that. But they might go to a theater saying, okay, yeah, you know what? I could pay $20 for the streaming service, but I'll just pay $20 and then go watch it in a theater because it's a one-off. That's the only thing I want to see on that service.
But is it not the same thing as just what movies are? If you make a movie, you put it in a theater, back in the day. I mean, that's the same concept, right?
Yeah, this concept is really just taking a movie. Nona's is a great example. And you would come up with a list of movies that have been great but have never seen a theater, that people on streaming services are like, that's a fantastic movie. And so you would find that. Now, the question is, would you have enough to show, or do you keep showing them over and over again? Because it seems like you have only maybe 5 to 10 of these movies every year at the most. And so that would be the only problem with the business plan here.
The business plan, I don't understand. It's when they have a movie out in the theater and it drops on a platform at the same time, and then they wonder why it's not making as much money at the theater. I don't get that. I think that's ScoJo got mad at that because she thought that her Marvel movie was going to be in just the theater, and she claims that.
She did say that because she had a back end.
It was the Black Widow one she did, right?
She had a back end piece of the movie, and she didn't know they were going to release it at the same time on streaming. And so a lot of people, instead of going to the movies where she was going to get paid more, they watched it on streaming, and she had no deal for the streaming piece of the pie.
She needs to be mad at her agent. That's where I think she lost it.
Well, she probably never thought they would release the movie in the theater and on streaming at the same time.
That's her agent's fault. Her agent blew it. That's who she needs to be mad at, because you got to realize that, look, they can do when they own it. They can do with it whatever they want. And I'm sure when they looked at it, look, I can only imagine the data that they have about movies, and they have test audiences, and when it's your livelihood, I just know even in radio, we don't have the kind of movie money that they do, and the testing that they do for movies in the theater. It's 100 times more than what we do for music and everything else, and our stuff is still extensive. So they knew all this stuff, and like going, I think it's pretty granular. They know we need to keep it in the theater for this long. On this date, we're going to drop it on streaming services. We're going to double dip, and I imagine they have pretty involved strategies. Now, look, they still have your Snow Whites and movies that tank because of the X factor they can't figure out. But I think what always is amazing to me is how they have the projections. I don't know if you ever pay attention to that, but they have the projections before a movie is released, and it's projected to make this weekend. That's all the research they have done on that, and it is very accurate. Now, sometimes you do have a fluctuation and a movie tanks, they expect it to do well, or vice versa. But for the most part, it's almost like Vegas with sports scores. Have you ever really looked at Vegas and how amazingly close they are to the point? Like, how do they freaking know this stuff? Their spreads and everything is unbelievable.
It makes you think it's rigged.
Well, and
They come so close.
They're so good. That's why people are saying it's rigged. A lot of people firmly believe. There are some people I can't get off that mark. They're like, nope, sports is scripted, all of it. I'm like, how are you scripting the ball going like this? And like, I mean, they're good, but they're not that good to that
Right.
level.
Everything would have to line up so perfectly to be
Yes.
able to pull that off. Everybody would have to be in on it, first of all.
Right. The collusion on this.
And you may tell me in today's day and age, no one's going to leak those secrets out. Of course they would.
Right.
You couldn't keep that a secret.
Yeah, but they show that. So they've really tested this stuff. And I'm sure that probably for her movie, they knew exactly what they were going to do, and they had a strategy so they would make the most amount of money. And she probably had an agent that wasn't up on the game or what they could do, and he whiffed. Probably got her all spun up and said, yeah, they screwed you, girl. No, you kind of dropped the ball, dude. You got to be ahead of where the movie company is because they got a fast one on you. And she probably left a lot of money on the table.
I know. I hope she'll be okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
We'll pray for her.
Yeah, I know she's really struggling with the dollar.
Dominic said on Tuesday's Am I the Jerk segment about the people being rowdy at a concert, Jay Bird asked if they were DHing. What does that mean?
Dry humping.
Okay, he said it's been bothering me ever since I heard it because I can't figure it out. I assume it's something he couldn't say on the radio. So does the D stand for dick? What does the H stand for? Dick handling?
No, you can say dry humping on the air, but I looked at the clock and like, it's summertime. I don't know. I don't want to say, I don't know. Sometimes I'm in a mood and I say something inappropriate, and other times I watch my tongue and go, DHing. And everyone's like, what the fuck does that mean?
And he also said, I've been hearing a lot of people recommending shows for you guys. A couple, Virginia, might want to see if she has Peacock. The show Laid is great. It's a one-season comedy, and each episode is only 30 minutes. It's about a slightly promiscuous woman who discovers all her ex-lovers start dropping dead in strange ways, and it's really funny.
Oh.
And then I also recommend Poker Face with Natasha Lyonne. Yeah, I've got that on my list. I've heard good things about that on Peacock. It's about a woman who knows when people are telling lies, and she solves random murders while crossing the country and living on the lam. It's like a modern-day Murder, She Wrote, but funnier and has a ton of guest stars.
And Natasha Lyonne is captivating.
She's good. She's very talented. She has been for a lot. I mean, she was in the American Pie movie
Yeah.
26 years ago.
She had a tough time for a while. She went through some things, and the fact that she's still standing and doing stuff that's popular and
She's got kind of a resurgence.
she did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's done some good projects. And Lauren, she is a loyal listener from Virginia who lived in France for a couple years, used to send in the Jaybird acronyms. I was working a lot last year, didn't have a lot of time for the podcasts, but I got back into it, and I found some new Jaybird acronyms. Here are some. PAB. Got them PABs.
Get them PABs. I got them PABs.
He said, Kevin is that PAB. That is how you used it in a sentence. Kevin is that PAB. What's that PAB?
Pussy ass bitch?
Yep.
No. Was it?
Pussy ass bitch. Yep. Very nice, Bird.
I mean, how disrespectful.
I know, right?
I know.
Yeah. How dare he? How dare he? Jaybird's got that SAN. S-A-N.
That's sand.
Jaybird's got that SAN, you had said.
That small ass nutsack. No.
No one could ever say you have a small nutsack.
Okay.
You got one of the biggest nutsack.
You
There's
have the-
animals at the zoo that don't have a big as nutsack as you.
How the hell do you know?
I can see it through the yoga pants I put you in.
Well, I mean, there are women yoga pants, and I'm sometimes portly.
But your nuts hung to your mid-thigh.
Anybody's nuts are gonna be dropping like that.
No.
You don't know my nuts. Then keep my
Your nuts.
Joe, you put some respect on my nuts, man.
Long ball bitch. LBB.
Put some respect on them.
Your SAN is short ass nose.
I do have a short ass
You do have
nose.
a short ass nose.
Wow.
And then you got FAF. F-A-F. Talking about Virginia, you said that she got that FAF.
She's got that faff. She's got that. I don't want to say that. It's mean.
Don't stop now.
She's got that faff. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
She got that freaky, that fake ass. Face it, fake.
Yeah, fake ass F. When you're talking about
Fake
Virginia.
ass fancy.
Fake ass fancy.
Yes.
Facts.
Fake ass fancy.
Yeah.
Fake ass fancy.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Got that faff. Well, this is rather interesting. We have somebody needs some help. And they said, you know what? We're not going to beat around the bush. My girlfriend and I are looking for a sperm donor. This is wild, but hear me out. I don't want to disclose certain information that could reveal my identity. We have friends that listen to the show. We are in St. Lucie County. We are a lesbian couple, been together for a year. She is older, and the biological clock is ticking. We've been trying to get pregnant since January of this year, and I realize it is not a very long time to try, but with her age, late 30s, we feel like we are strapped for time. Before you ask or suggest, yes, we went to the doctor and all is fine. We're trying to keep this a secret from close friends and family, but we've asked close male friends. Most have sadly declined or had a vasectomy. We have a friend that we've used since January, but no luck yet, so we want to have more of a variety. We tried the Just a Baby app, considered going to a sperm clinic, but we don't want to spend over $1,000 when I feel there has to be someone out there that wants to do this out of the kindness of their heart. We've done everything but try it the traditional way, which would have a lot more participants. We've been on dating sites, Grindr, but no luck yet. Lots of D-pics, which is confusing, but that's another topic. This would be artificial insemination and no touching or watching on our end. Simply go into the bathroom and aim for the cup. We leave you. Most of the men we are finding want more than we will give, and the decent, willing men end up being no-shows. We want to keep trying, but we can't find anyone willing to help us. To be clear, we are not looking to co-parent, dump, and go. If you want updates, we can do that, but no obligation at all. I'm starting to feel like this just is in the cards for us, hoping for a Hail Mary. Help us make a baby.
So I think you have to get legal involved with whoever the guy is that's going to do this for you. He's either going to want to know that he's not going to be come after in court for paternity with a DNA test, and he's going to be financially responsible for 18 years. You're going to have to put things in writing for him to be able to freely give you his man juice.
Right.
But it is a lot cheaper than $1,000. You could have, a lawyer help you do something, and hopefully it's a lot less than that.
Yeah.
Ask the lawyer, too, while you're at it.
Maybe he'll give you some of his juice.
I will draw up the contract, and I'll give you my semen.
If it's a male lawyer, of course.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, I think you're just seeing why it costs so much money, because there's some safeguards that most people want. Now, there are some dudes who just tug it and wouldn't care, but I don't know if you want their semen.
I would just, if it would always mess with my head, I think, because I would want to be involved and get updates.
But you would always think like, oh, wow, I wonder what my little person is doing.
That's how I would
You'd
look
always
at it.
worry about your kid because you would care.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that for most guys, that is the tough part that's doing that. The other guys, they're in it to make some money, and that's why they're going to the sperm clinic to pump and dump.
She wants to do her own little independent sperm clinic. It's a lot cheaper.
I understand why she's got to struggle here, though.
Well, put it out there. You're putting it out there on the KVJ show.
That's
Maybe
right.
somebody will want to help.
Oh, believe me, the dudes up at Port St. Lucie love to tug it.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a lot of semen in Port St. Lucie.
The most in the county other than Okeechobee.
Heavy sack.
Yes, they do.
Hey, Rocco.
He's still here?
Oh, yeah, he's still here.
Oh, my gosh. Oh,
The things he gets is, well, I mean, keep in mind, he's the webmaster for, what is it, Witch Nose, Cute Toes?
WitchKnowsCuteToes.com.
And there's some twisted stuff on there that a 9-year-old boy should not be seeing his mom doing.
Yeah, this one's
he's-
not, it's not on me.
Yeah, no. We got to do what we got to do. I know.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, people are like, people are giving me a hard time. They're going, how could you be talking about orgasms when your kids were sitting right behind you? I'm like, To be fair, I teased the segment. They walked in. I'm like,
I started talking about orgasms before I knew they were here.
right. I would have changed the topic. I'm like going, oh, that's great. So I've sold it. Now I got to pay off what I just sold. And so here we are, kids. I'm going to be talking about what kind of guy you need to pick to get the best orgasms.
And honestly, we have a job to do.
You're right.
we're fighting a war
Hey,
over
you're
here.
not talking about their mom's big O.
That's true. That's true. I'm like, I got to do what I got to do.
That's next week.
Yeah, that's just it. They know what Dad does.
Virginia says don't read the comments, but unfortunately right now we have to make sure the cameras are cool and the sound's working.
Yeah.
We have to read the comments.
But there's been some brutal comments.
There's somebody that is texted in to defend Shakira. They said for her show, doors were at 6. Show started at 7:30 with the opening act. She played from 9 to 11. It was great. Maybe people get confused with doors opening and opening act versus main act. The person that sent the email said that she did not have an opening act.
Now, my issue's more with the medley.
Yeah, that was I'm not sure if you'd heard the Shakira email, but that was what they had said. They'd said that she was supposed to come on a certain time, did not, was late. I do remember they'd said there was no opening act, so maybe they got that wrong. I don't know. But they said then they showed videos, and I thought this was the opening, but then that went for another 20 minutes.
Do you give an artist grace if they do have poopy cramps? If they got stomach issues, is that a reason, a viable reason to show up late to perform?
Yes, but none of the fans know that you were on the pooper. They don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to come out and tell them, sorry, guys, I had diarrhea for the past 30 minutes.
It's
That's
not like
why
that's
I'm
going
late.
away. I mean, you're going to have to keep dumping during the concert, too.
Exactly.
And it doesn't, even if you have diarrhea, it doesn't take more than a couple minutes to blast it out and then go try to do what you got to do. But yeah, I mean, during the concert, yeah, I don't know. If an artist gets really bad diarrhea to the point where it's gushing every 5-10 minutes, I don't know what they do.
Well, especially if you're dancing, shaking things loose, you know her hips will not lie.
That's the night that you wear brown pants, Shakira.
Yeah, you're right.
And maybe a diaper. I don't know.
Yeah. Serena said she was just playing music videos. I was there. So I don't know. Maybe that's an unfair critique in that last email that we got. The fans seemed like they loved it. I saw a video on social media. She looked amazing, and it sounded great. And the fans were, I mean, the Hard Rock Stadium was packed. So she really brought them in. And that was Friday night. I assume Saturday was probably the same.
She's massive. I mean, I know she's massive here in the States, but in Colombia, massive.
Well, and just in Miami, typically the Hispanic artists, they'll play just Miami, but I mean, they all pack it in. With all the Spanish artists, they'll play the Casella Center 3 nights in a row and they'll sell it out.
Wow.
Downtown Miami. So yeah, it does very well. Samantha explaining, I had seen a bunch of Boynton firefighters. They'd walked into Pastor Sean's church last Sunday, and there was about maybe 10 or 15 of them, and half of them had mustaches. And it was kind of odd because they hung together. So you had the guys without mustaches walking in first, and then the group, I'm like, do they segregate themselves by mustache, or why is this happening? It was
Birds
odd.
of a feather.
I guess it was. I was like, it was so interesting. They had the mustache band of brothers together, even in the fire department. But Samantha's saying, yeah, the firefighters are not allowed to grow beards.
Oh.
It's just bizarre. That's so bizarre to me.
It is bizarre because a buddy of mine, John, he is the chief, I think, for Coral Springs. And he was telling me that firefighters in the day used to have super long beards. They all did. And before they went into a fire, they would dip the beard in water. And it was wet, and then they take it and put it in their mouth, and it almost served as a filter. It was cool. It was wet. They could suck some of the water out of the beard, and then it would also help with the smoke and everything else that was going on. So he said firefighters used to always have beards. So I assume that changed with technology. But then, to me, if you wanted to be an old school firefighter and pay homage to the originals, shouldn't you be able to have a beard, unless they think now the way it is that with the mask it hangs out the side, the beard could catch on fire, and
if it's a safety,
it's a hazard. Yeah,
if it's a hazard, then and that I'm not seeing. All right, you got some legs to stand on. But if it's just because you think it looks like the Yankees, you could only grow a mustache if you were on the New York Yankees for the longest time.
Yeah.
You can. Some beards look classy, man. You can make a beard look great. And what if you are a guy that has something on his face that you don't like, a beard helps cover that up.
Right, like scars.
I have a gobbler that goes into a butt chin, into a scar. Facial hair is what I need.
Your chin is busy.
It's busy, man.
Yeah. Nate said, it changed with the invention of the oxygen mask. So, and I guess I get that now. Because you wouldn't need the beard now when you have an oxygen mask. They did that before they had the oxygen mask, and that's how the firefighters would do it. So
maybe it can't make a seal.
That makes sense, too. Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. So it's odd, though, that what used to save you is now outlawed. But, it makes sense with the technology. And Stacy said those packets that Virginia brought in was talking about helped dry out my phone when it dropped in water. They work better than putting the phone in rice.
Wow.
And you said they come in purses. It's a little packet that's in
It says
purses
do not eat. Do not eat all over it. And it's meant to keep humidity out of stuff.
And that kid just chowed it down.
And my nephew just opened it up and ate it like it was nerds.
Yeah. Yikes.
And my sister's like, but here's the thing. He can read. So he read it and it said do not eat. And he ripped it off and ate it anyway.
When your kids do stuff like that, that's when you start to wonder, be like, is that me? Is that on me? Like,
she struggles with him a lot.
Yeah. Like, is that coming from me? How'd
He
that happen?
stuck 2 fingers in a Coke can and could not get them out. The neighbor had to come over with the jaws of life and cut the fingers out of the Coke can.
I remember my
That's funny.
very, very first girlfriend said, that's how you practice. Never mind. I can't say this. I'll say it tomorrow.
I know what you mean.
Not with your private, but
with your finger?
Yeah. And I thought, that seems like that's kind of painful.
Yeah, you could slice your finger open.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
That is very
She
weird.
was older in advance, and I was just like, ugh.
She was feeding you a line.
She's trying to get rid of me.
Aw.
She's trying to cut my fingers and
Cut and run.
cut my fingers, send this pussy to the hospital.
Nobody does that.
You've never heard that before?
No.
You seem like you had.
To practice?
Yeah.
No.
Huh.
I think I'm a little confused.
Well, we're not together for a reason.
And Brian said you're talking about places with distinct smells, and he said it's not the best, but Target definitely has a distinct smell when you walk through the doors.
Yes.
You notice that?
I don't love it. What's even worse than Target is Dollar General. Oh. They've got a distinct smell.
And
they do.
So it's probably the cheap-ass products, not any kind of diffuser, like, because we started by talking about the Bright line, and every station is just, it's almost like a clean air that's overpowering, and it's the same at every Bright line station.
Any of those, like Five Belows or dollar stores, they all got that smell you're talking about. I know what you mean.
Like everything's just about to expire. Like if it's Tuesday, all the cereal is going to expire on Friday.
Right. Yeah. Okay, well, there you go. Thank you very much. Our first complete after the show with everybody here.
Rocco wants to say hi. He wants to show you how he can talk on the air from his studio.
Hold on, Rocco.
Oh, okay.
Let me film this.
All right.
Let me film this from my phone, bud. Hold on.
Okay, Rocco is in there.
Jaybird's going to film it. Aw.
Good. Okay, you can hear him.
I don't think we can hear him. Can you just hear him in your headphones?
I got him. Yeah, you guys don't hear him?
No, we don't hear him.
Oh, okay. All right. No.
All right, we gotta figure that one out.
That will not make the video.
We gotta learn which buttons to press.
Okay. All right. Do I wait or are we?
Can you hear us, Rocco?
Okay. All right.
No, that's fine.
You can end it.
Sorry.
Smooth ending.
Well, that was the one thing he said. He said, Mom, can you please ask Kevin if he'll say hi to me?
Of course. Of course. Oh, you can handle. All right. Well, Rocco, we'll have you continue to work in there to figure out all the little things. We still clearly have a lot to learn about this studio.
I'll look into the child labor laws.
Day by day. All right, y'all. Well, we got a Friday tomorrow. I'm going to come in here sleep deprived, and we're going to bang out a Friday show, baby.
Good luck. Have fun tonight.
Yes.
At the Hard Rock.
Yes.
Party Kev on a Thursday night.
Party Kev out. Yes. I'm hoping to be in bed by 9. That's how raging I get.
9. Good luck with that.
Getting back from Hard Rock.
Dinner's at 5.
All right.
Okay, you have a shot.
You have a
I have a shot.
chance.
Yeah.
Coming down from a dinner, trust me, it takes me like 3 hours to kind of
Okay, I'm gonna drink a bottle of tincture, so I'll be. I'll be out. All right, we'll see y'all back here then. Goodbye.